Guys, I started this video a little late. This is a 1985 300 SD, and I've been working on it for a couple of weeks, doing all the service work, and I forgot to do a lot of the recording. So yeah, I'm just doing my stuff. I'm going to lubricate all the window tracks. Still have the original plastic on here. That tells me that no one has been in here before. I'm going to go in and lubricate the window tracks, the motor, put a replacement door strap in because this one was loose, and yeah, just go through everything, and I'll take a video when I'm all done. And oh yeah, the antenna didn't work, so I've ordered a rebuilt Hirschman antenna, the exact correct year. Here's the one that I pulled out of the car. I was seeing if I could repair it, but the circuit board was actually dead in it. It's funny, the motor worked fine. Here's the actual antenna mast. All the internals worked fine, and there's a circuit board right here that controls you know, up, down, halfway point, and that circuit board was fried. I actually sent it off to see if they could repair it, and they couldn't. So I just ordered a complete new Hirschman antenna assembly, and I'll probably get to repairing that one day. Right now I've got the door panel off, and I'm replacing the door strap right down here. There's the replacement door strap I put in there. As you can see, the door opens to full lock, and see how it stays there, and then we can go to half lock. See how it stays there? That's how it's supposed to open up. So good, that's fixed. So the window motors and regulators, they're very robust on these old Mercedes if they're maintained. You have to, this is just moly graphite grease, and you can see the track in here. You can see the grease from the factory down in there, but that's long gone. So I just get in here and I grease these up real good, and these window regulators and motors will last a long time. The reason you see them break is often because this service is never done, and it puts an unnecessary strain on the motor and the parts, and sometimes the part will bend. Not so much on the 85 model, but some of the other models, these parts will bend just because of the resistance from not being lubricated. So you can see there's a wear mark there from the gear. So I just lubricate this up real good. Get in here real good, all around that plastic bushing, because that plastic bushing is what often breaks in there. But now that we've lubricated that, we're going to just run it up and down and work in that grease real good. Look how good the window works. Let's see if I can get the plastic up here like that. Let's zoom in there a little bit. And we just want to work that in real good. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to re-lubricate that since it's had time to go through its motion. So I'm going to go back in here. That's lubricated well. I'm going to lubricate that a little more, and got the door strap replaced over here, and this side is done. And I'm going to go around to all the other door panels, and those door straps are fine on all the other doors. It's always the driver's side that tends to wear out. But I'm going to go ahead and lubricate the window regulators and window mechanism on all the other doors. Seen this, I know you guys have seen this in my other videos, but this plastic cover here is very important because it's a moisture barrier. There's water that goes down in between the door sill here and gets in the door and drains out the bottom, and this moisture barrier keeps it from getting into the door panel, because that's like a cardboard backing on the door panel. Actually, let me show you the door panel. Yeah, here's the door panel. This is from an SEL, a different car. But see, you look at the back of these. I know that's upside down. It's a piece of cardboard back here, and the door panel is ABS plastic. But when that cardboard gets wet, it'll warp and just deteriorate and fall apart. So you really want to put, here's a front door, that's a back door for an SEL. Here's the front door panel. There you go. So this one is from another car. You can see the wetness around there. That's exactly why you want to put the protective barrier, because when that gets super wet, that'll just crumble and fall apart. That's really not bad right there. But let's see. Here's the door panel for this car right there. Let me go ahead and grab that because it's going to go back on the car as this 300 SD. There you go. Let's look at the back of that. Ooh, look at that one. Look how nice that one is. Almost no water at all back there. Got a little bitty stain right there. So I'm going to put this one back on the car, and I think the wood grain looks the best. Oh yeah, that's great. Look at the condition of the wood grain on this one. What I use is the 3M Multi-Purpose Adhesive, and it's really easy to put back on there. Let me open this up. All you do, you can see where the factory had the glue right there. All you do is just spray right back over that factory line, and put the plastic, and it sticks right to it. See, I just squirt it right on here. You don't want to get it on the weather stripping up there. There we go. So I'm going to stop recording so I can tape that back up there, but I'll show you when it's done. And there we go. It's just right back where the factory had glued it. And you want it taut. See how taut it is? Let's see if I can pull it away. Yeah, you want it tight like that. You get a tight fit and seals all the way around, and that keeps all the water off the door card, off the door panel. Of course, you got to pull the courtesy light wire back out. And this door is done. Okay, I identified what's making the noise on the seat, so I'm going to show you what the culprit is. Here is the cable that powers the motor, or it powers the seat track. See, this is a cable, and it clips in here and it spins and it turns the gears down there. So watch that. This needs a little lubrication in there. It's making some noise. Did you hear that noise? And so I'm going to pop this off and lubricate inside of there and make sure it's attached. That should be quiet and smooth. And I'm going to lubricate it and make sure it's operating smooth. But you can see I've greased the tracks and the sliders here. And let's see, there's the little gear right down in there. I've greased up the teeth on the gear there. Because those just, the grease on there is just gummy by this point. And you can see I've done this one over here. So that should make it slide really smooth with no noise. Because it had a little bit of squeaking noise, so I just wanted to make sure it's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the car and hook it up, and we'll see what it sounds like now. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and squirt some Deox in the Windows seat controls. These work fine, but you know, it's old. It's an old switch, and it's good to squirt Deox down in there, then move them around a little bit, and that'll loosen up and get rid of any corrosion and just you know, general maintenance on an old electronic switch. And here's Deox. I'll show you what that stuff is. It's very expensive, but you can just soak electric parts in it, and it doesn't hurt anything. It'll rejuvenate old circuits and stuff. And there we go. You just spray it right down there in the switch. Let me get it in here real good. And then once I do that, here I'm going to spray it in these. Oh man, super smooth now. Let's try this one. And let me squirt the headrest one right here. But you really want to do this on, even if your window switches are not working well, you can squirt this in there and it works wonders. Beautiful. So that is now taken care of. And any of the stuff that's sprayed out, it'll just evaporate. But I do that on all the switches on these cars when I'm putting them back together. Really good stuff. And there we have it, folks. New door strap, door panels back in, everything's lubricated. Threw some nice cocoa mats in here. On a lot of these cars, when you try to shut the door, you see how it kind of bounced and didn't catch? See that? And so most guys just slam them. So you slam it and it shuts. Well, the doors are not supposed to shut like that. You don't need to slam them. And the reason that happens is because this little rubber piece right here has deteriorated. And normally there's a bump right here that hits the lock first, and it will cause the lock to kick back and shut smoothly. So there's a company in Thailand making these. Here's the piece right here. And that is the exact piece that goes in there. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. But that way you can remove your original Mercedes strikers, take out the old deteriorated broken piece, because it's two pieces. This striker is actually two pieces. See the deteriorated rubber there and the striker right here. And then you replace that part and put it back on. That way you don't have to buy the cheap aftermarket striker assemblies. So I'll replace that and then show you how the door shuts. Okay guys, you can see I have the original Mercedes door striker installed again. But this time we have the new little rubber tab piece that goes right here. That's what allows the door to shut easily. Remember how it was not shutting before? Now watch. Bam. You don't have to slam it. You just shut it normally. That's how the doors are supposed to work, and that's the piece that corrects that. Putting the final details or doing the finishing touches on this 1985 300 SD. Just doing an oil change now, but I wanted to record it so everybody can see that it has some fresh oil. Anyway, I'm going to get underneath there and drain it and put some Rotella 15W40 in here. And here's the air cleaner top. Beautiful condition. So I'm going to go ahead and fix the mounting bracket, and then I'm going to put some of these new rubber mounting bushings on there. These guys. I'll just keep a stash of these here because I go through so many of them. And then this car is ready to go. Here's the air cleaner housing. And so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and replace that mounting bracket and then put this housing back on, and this car is ready. Alright, I've got the new air cleaner mount under there, so I can mount the air cleaner again. And right now I'm just testing the Egr valve to make sure it holds vacuum. Perfect. It's holding vacuum. Now, to hear if it shuts correctly, when I pull this out, we should hear a little click. Yep, there we go. So that Egr is good. So I'm going to go ahead and hook back up the Egr lines, vacuum lines. You have to take these off in order to get the air cleaner off, and I had to fix that, put that new mount on there. Bolting back on the air cleaner housing, I like to use these little nylock. See, it has a little piece of nylon in there. I like to use these little nylocks so they don't vibrate loose. And just a little extra precaution, so I'm going to tighten those guys down. And there's new rubber mounts on here too, so that's going to be stable again. Alright, I got a fresh air filter in here. On there. And let's put this nut back on here. And I think that's a 10 millimeter. You don't need to torque that down crazy tight, just make it snug. And we'll put these clips back on there. About to do a valve adjustment, and I just wanted you guys to see that I've actually done that, because that's important on these cars. I've done some extremely detailed valve adjustment videos, but this video I'm just going to show the actual valve cover removed and me taking a couple of measurements. I'm not going to go into great detail about the valve adjustment, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting the top end taken apart, and we'll get to that in a minute. I lubricated all these and took it out for a test drive, and it felt really good. But I don't know when the last valve adjustment was done, so it's important to have that done. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop off these linkages, and then we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, this car, we've done tons of work on it. We did ball joints, shocks, rear sway bar links, just replaced the mono valve, did a vacuum control modulator on the transmission, took out door panels, lubricated window tracks. Let's go ahead and take these 13 millimeter nuts off of here. Just to remove this assembly here. Take off that air cleaner. See, this is just 4 bolts and then all that stuff comes off. All right, set this valve cover aside. Okay, the first thing I look at when I take off a valve cover is chain stretch. This chain is super tight. I mean, it only has 100,000 miles on it. Of course, it's super tight. All right, and you can hear the, there's the tensioner. You can hear it. That's the chain tensioner. You can see, there you go, you can see it right there. See it moving in and out. Those are, they fill with oil once the system is pressurized. There's the guide, there's chain guide. So what I first look at are the lobes. You can tell how well a car was cared for by looking at the cam lobes. And these look absolutely beautiful. See, there's no scoring, no scratches, no marks. And if it did have that, that means they didn't change the oil regularly. There you go. See how smooth that is? How beautiful these cam lobes are? That's outstanding condition. So that's good. We've got a very tight timing chain with no stretch, and the cam lobes are in excellent condition. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and bump the engine over, get this cam pointed straight up, and I'm going to go ahead and start checking the with a feeler gauge, checking the clearance between the rocker and the cam lobe. Just something I wanted to show real quick to show how good a condition this car is. That is the original hood pad. Normally those things are rotted and hanging down and half missing. That's the original hood pad. That's how much care was put into this vehicle. It was obviously kept in a garage, and this is not all rotten and hanging down. It's still in excellent condition. So that's just a barometer I use when I'm looking at cars. When they have their original hood pads, you know that somebody really loved them. On a cold engine, which this is a cold engine, the sticker on the, there it is right there. You can see that black sticker there. There's your valve adjustment lashes, lash settings. And on a cold engine, Mercedes says to do it 0.35 millimeters on the exhaust and 0.10 millimeters on the intake. Well, 0.35 millimeters on the exhaust, that's the same. 0.35 millimeters is 14 thousandths. And on the feeler gauge, I don't know if you guys can see that, it actually says 0.35 millimeters or 14 thousandths. So we're going to check this first exhaust lobe here. And here, maybe I can hold the camera and show you guys how I'm checking this. We've got the lobe pointed straight up, and we just want to go right there. Oh my God, that's perfect. That is a perfect lash setting. See how it's a little snug and it just slips right in there? So somebody's done a valve adjustment on this car. I'm sure the previous owner had it done. Actually, I'm just going to check every single one of them, and if I find one that's out, I'll start recording again. All right, guys, I'm back. And I have literally gone down the line on every intake and exhaust valve. You can see I marked them off on my chart, and everything is exactly in spec. There were no adjustments needed on this engine. It's obvious that someone has already done this in the recent history of the vehicle. Everything's in spec, so I've made no adjustments. But at least I've looked now. So in order to increase the performance on these cars, there's a little trick you can do. Some of you guys are probably familiar with it. This device here is called the ALDA, A-L-D-A. And you can pop this cap off here and usually undo the set screw and screw it counterclockwise, like maybe half a turn to 1 turn. And it slightly increases the fuel to the engine, and you usually gain 1 to 2 seconds on your 0 to 60. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that and tune this engine. Now if you do it too much, you're going to blow tons of black smoke. We don't want that. So we get it basically at idle where there's no black smoke, and then under acceleration there's a little smoke, but under normal cruising there's no smoke. So I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment on this engine, and then we'll take it out for a test drive. Another thing you want to check on these 617 diesel engines is this line right here. That line goes to the overboost protection circuit, and it's a vacuum line that runs to the back of the intake manifold. You can see I've actually got the bolt already loose here. But you want to blow this line out with compressed air to make sure there's not a lot of soot and gunk back in there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this line off and blow it out and make sure it's clean. Okay, you can see I have that banjo fitting unplugged from the back of the intake. And here's the banjo bolt. See, it has a little hole in it and it's hollow. So we're going to make sure this is free of any carbon buildup. Make sure this overboost protection line that runs over, there we go, over there. Make sure this is free of any carbon buildup. Here's the overboost protection circuit on these cars, and that line runs out of the bottom. And we'll go ahead and make sure that line is clean, and little things like this, valve adjustment, ALDA adjustment, cleaning the overboost line, that'll give you maximum performance. Okay, I have this overboost protection line off of there, and I just blew it out with compressed air, and it's super clean. So I can actually breathe through it, no problem. So we're going to put this back on the car now that we've made sure that is all cleaned out. Now this overboost protection, the banjo bolt on the line is actually a crush washer goes on each side of it. Banjo bolt on this side with a crush washer and another crush washer on this side. Now when you take it off, those need to be replaced because they've already been crushed. So here I have 2 extra crush washers to put some fresh ones in there. So it's aluminum, so you don't need to crank it down because you're going to strip out the aluminum. So when you put it back in there, you want to be really careful. I've got it in there. I'm just going to thread it in by hand. Make sure it goes in nice and smooth. And then you just want to snug it up and you can feel when the crush washers start to crush a little. That's where you need to stop. You don't want to crank this down. It's a 12 millimeter. Reconnect it to our over voltage circuit here. Reconnect it right here and put the little Mercedes clamp back on. Okay guys, you can see I've removed the little metal cap. You just basically peel it back. You cut it, peel it back, and I'm left over with some, I'll get this little metal piece off here, but I've peeled it back, and now I'm going to make an adjustment. So I want to undo the set screw. Let's get this thing on there. There we go. Now I'm going to turn that. There we go. I'm going to back it out. There we go. Now I'm going to hold it still while I tighten back down the locking screw. Okay, I just pulled the car out of the garage, and there's the garage. I literally drove it to here. So it is a cold, ice cold engine. There's my hand on the exhaust manifold. It hadn't even had time to heat up. So let's do a cold start on the engine, and then we're going to take this thing out for a test drive. There's the glow plug light. Fires right up. We have good oil pressure. It literally takes about half a spin of the engine to fire up. Guys, there's nothing blowing out of there at all. There's the cap. It's not even, it's barely moving. So this engine is super healthy. Let's see, let's set the cap right. Here we go. And we'll rev it up. So excellent engine condition, no blow by. This is a strong engine. So with the auto adjustment, we're gonna take it out and we're gonna see what the 0 to 60 acceleration is on these big sedans. A really good healthy engine is around 15 seconds. Put my seatbelt on. And keep in mind, this is a cold engine. There we go. Now we've replaced the vacuum control module on the transmission. We've made a Bowden cable or Bowden cable adjustment. We've cleaned out the turbo, let's see, Alda overboost line to make sure that's clean, and we've backed the Alda out. That just makes up for, you know, any kind of wear or use on the any kind of wear on the injection pump where we need to add a little bit more fuel after, you know, 30 years. So we're just gonna, when this light turns green here, we'll do a 0 to 60 test. Okay, we're gonna try a 0 to 60 here. Go. And I think that is about 60. Damn, this thing will get up and go. All right, let's try some cruising on the interstate here. And I'm gonna go ahead and kick on the cruise control. So we're gonna go cruise control, and my foot is not on the accelerator. We're accelerating with the cruise control, and it is holding beautifully at 60 miles an hour. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click that off now. And we'll take a look at the RPMs at cruising speed. I think we got that Alda adjustment just perfect. There's kick down works. Lots of good power just shifted into the final gear. We're going up a hill on the interstate. I'm gonna let off a little bit. And I think we're at about 3,000 RPMs at 70 miles an hour. That's that nice gearing on the 85 models. Normally it'd probably be 32 to 34. So let's go ahead and bring her up to 80 here. See how she cruises at 80. All right, we're at about 75 at about 3,500 RPMs. Running beautifully, and that's it's a nice healthy diesel engine on this big old sedan. That feels like our sweet spot right there. About 72s to 70, 73, and about 3,200. She feels really good right there. So we're gonna get on this off ramp here and head back to the house. Let's check out the braking right here. Watch the speedometer. I'm gonna apply very hard brakes. And ready, here we go. Whoa! She has some great brakes. Very nice. She's a really good one. Here's the aftermarket radio right there. I restored the original Becker right here, and so you could always put that in here if you wanted, but the aftermarket's pretty nice, so I'm just gonna leave that one in here because it sounds really good. All right, we have the light. All right. I'm not going to be able to accelerate. There's too much traffic in front of me, so we'll just drive normal. Steering is extremely tight, very responsive, very solid front end, new ball joints, new shocks, all the bushings are in excellent condition. I'm gonna hit the kick down right here, and we're gonna just take her up to speed. We're in, I guess that would be third gear, so it should drop down to fourth in a second when the RPMs get to the right spot. Right about now, there we go. Perfect adjustment on the transmission shift points. Yeah, this thing is very nice, very quiet. We're going 65, very quiet on the interior. No wind noise around any of the windows or the sunroof. No squeaking. Dash lights are very bright. They're very strong in this car. I'm going to hit the kick down again here. So it pulls very strong. Ooh. So anyway, I'm going to take her back to the house. Let's get the interior light on here. We've done all the adjustments and tuning of the engine and the transmission shift points via the Bowden cable. Put a new vacuum modulator on there on the transmission. The valves are adjusted perfectly. I didn't need to make any changes there. Cleaned out the line to the overboost protection circuit, adjusted the ALDA, and this thing is running sweet. It's very smooth, quiet. This is just a nice 85 300 SD. And sorry I didn't have more videos on this car. I was in the middle of doing videos on like 2 other cars. You've probably seen the gold SD I was working on, and I just didn't make any videos on this car. But like I said, all the ball joints, sway bar links, shocks, all that stuff was replaced on here, and this car is done. 114,886 miles, and it's a beautiful 300 SD. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and this will be another great car for this would be a great commuter car. I'd drive this thing to work every day. It's awesome on long on the, you know, with the 85 gearing. You can really haul tail on the interstate, so for long trips this would be great. And these are just great cars. I love them. The sedans, the SD model, that's my favorite. I've had some killer wagons, some coupes. I personally drive an SD. It's just the you know, it was the flagship diesel sedan, and these things are great. I just absolutely love them. And then so I'll do a walk around video of this car, and that's the driving video. And tomorrow when it's bright outside, I'll do a walk around so you guys can see it. And this one's for sale from Woods and Barclay Automotive. Take it easy, you guys. I went ahead and changed the in-tank filter. Those often get clogged with just, you know, dirty old diesel over the years, so it's real important to change those. The boots on this car are in amazing condition. There's no cracks. There's the boots again. Wanted to show you that. It has new Bilstein shocks on it, brand new ball joints. I'll show you the other side. Yep, brand new ball joints. Hope you guys enjoyed it.